Well, we're joined by the Mayor of Mogale City, Tyrone Gray. Thank you for being with us, Mayor. So 21 bodies, it's quite astounding. I mean, what do you understand about what happened?
Well, when we went to site, the nature of the topography of that area, it seems that there are open shafts. There's a crown top, which means the gold is breached very close towards the surface, making it quite incentive for artisanal mining, illegal mining. Zama Zamas operations. The other issue is that we had a recent bout of rain, and given that the tunnels aren't adequately secured, there's no support structures, they become compromised, they collapse and they flood, and this is most likely the cause of death of those individuals.
And it's very sad. Would they have drowned then in the tunnels?
Yes, it's a very traumatic and horrific demise. They would have drowned in the tunnels then.
The report suggests that the bodies were moved, possibly by other miners who wanted to bring them up so they can have a burial. Does that conform to what you understand?
This is also what was reported to me. However, I do want to implore that we await for the inquest to finalise the investigation, because that would mean that there was a certain crime scene that was meddled with in a way. It could be innocent, that they simply wanted to assist in bringing them out of the tunnels. It could be more nefarious than that.
Well, it's strange to me that 21 bodies can be moved without being seen. Is that strange to you?
It is rather curious. It is curious. It depends what hour it was happening. If it was at night, it's also difficult to move bodies at night in tunnels without adequate lighting in dredge-soaked areas.
Yeah. Especially because there should be a lot of activity around this area, given the concerns that were raised earlier after the gang rape of those several women, and we heard that police were going to be on the ground. Are police on the ground? What is happening? And tell us how the municipality is involved, if at all, in that high-level operation that was announced earlier.
All right, so we established in conjunction with SABC, as well as the mining houses, as well as private security, the DMCCF, which is the District Mining Combating Crime Forum. We also have a localized storm committee, which coordinates all of the role players so that we do holistic engagements and disciplined operations. One of the unintended consequences, however, as we disrupt a certain area, let's say, for instance, we secure a more urbanized area from mining, it pushes the illicit miners out into the periphery. This exact location is literally just on the border of Mogale City, going towards Randfontein or Randwest municipality. So it's literally on the border between two municipalities. In quite a secluded area, there's a lot of blue gums or forest densification in that area. So it is difficult in terms of visibility or policing of that area. And it's most likely why the Zama Zamas moved into that area, because so much attention is given elsewhere that they went into an area that they would have known is rather unsafe, especially during rainfall.
And I'd like to talk more about this, but firstly, you've been reportedly saying that the mine is licensed, but that is the mine that they were found at. Are they still suspected to be illegal miners moved from elsewhere to that licensed mine?
It could be either or. They could have either been found at operating there, or they could have been brought and relocated to that area.
What does licensed mean? Is that mine in use?
It means that, yes, it is a currently active mine. When we engaged with the mine themselves, what they were actually doing is reducing the level of the outcrop. If we can get all of the outcrops lower, it will discourage illicit mining, because it requires heavy machinery in order to get to the level 1 reef.
But please explain further. Is there mining operation taking place, legal mining operations taking place in the day? And then can Zama Zamas come at night? How does it work?
I don't know what the arrangement is. I don't know if there is any sort of arrangements of that sort. But yes, it is an active mine that operates legally so during the day.
Okay, but these bodies are still suspected right now to be the bodies of illegal miners or Zama Zamas?
Yes.
Either from another area, or they were working illegally after hours or whenever at this licensed mine. Yes. You said that more bodies can be found.
So when we went onto site, the search and rescue teams were having an issue. They have a generator that sucks and pumps the water out, but because of inadequate ventilation, etc., they were unable to continue operations because the exhaust fumes from the generator were compromising the operation. We don't want to endanger the security officers as well. And then we're waiting for the water level to start dropping, re-engage and see if there are any other bodies. It's also very tricky. You see, the tunnels are so convoluted and interconnected that a collapse at one shaft can affect another contingent that might have used an exit shaft to get in, etc. And now as they're meandering through, they found that it's actually waterlogged or closed off.
It sounds like a mess, and with all the efforts and all the attention on illegal mining, specifically in that area, does your municipality or does anybody else actually know what's going on underground?
Well, it's very difficult to know what's going on given that the previous mine maps have been augmented with illicit tunnels as such. There's been interconnectedness and compromised shafts, etc. So it would be difficult to say what the actual underground map looks like. However, there is a coordinated effort that's needed, a holistic one. So, for instance, the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy does have a policy framework, but a policy is only as good as its implementation. What we need to do is secure, even if it's just for a few months, a contingency, a Section 201, which is when there's an employment of Defence Force, to secure the area, and then we can start doing roadshows, permits for artisanal or small-scale mining in a safe and conducive environment. But we do need to secure the area first.
So you want the Defence Force to be deployed?
Yes, I think it would go a long way in employing the resolve of South Africans to live in peace and harmony and to be free from fear and want, and to also develop a better life for all. And that is going to require some additional support, only in conjunction and cooperation with SAPS until we stabilize the area and then can do the artisanal mining that's required.
What is it like? I mean, residents are saying that it's like a war zone at night. They hear gang violence, possibly between the Zama Zama gangs. Sometimes they hear blasting. Women are afraid to go out alone at night. Kids don't play in the streets. Cops were meant to be on the ground. What sort of police presence is there, and what is it like to live there?
Okay, well, it is rather traumatic to live there, and this has been spanning for approximately 15 to 20 years, let's say. The area in question, especially West Village, was a mining development when the mine originally was still active on a far larger scale. Since its dormancy, there's been systemic decay in the area. There aren't adequate resources to enable the area to be as safe and sound and nice as it used to be. It used to be a wonderful development. Then the other issue is that while the police can patrol and be visible, it will always be inadequate because of the severe syndication of the illicit miners. There are scouts, there are a certain section that just deals with the militant arm, like the weapons hire. There are others that are the physical laborers, there are the others that do the planning. So as a police car comes in, for instance, there will be whistleblowers and coordinated, so they know how to move along.
So they're always a few steps ahead. But has that police presence waned? Because the community at the time was saying, well, maybe there'll be a bit of action for a few days, and then we know that the police won't be here. No authorities will continue with that ongoing presence. Nobody can keep us safe. And they've been saying to us recently, that seems to be happening.
So maybe it did wane over the last few weeks. However, there was very heavy police presence over the, let's say, the last 8 weeks to 12 weeks before then, given the horrendous traumatic event that happened in August. It's also up to the community to assist SAPS, especially with information sharing. There is often times where the Zama Zamas are so entrenched in the community that they're forming part of the rental or income agreements of some of the residents. So, for instance, they are leasing perhaps the back rooms or some of the houses in the area.
Sure. So people have an incentive actually to protect them then.
We've actually done operations all around Mogale City. There are certain areas where the community actually stopped us and said, no, those are our Zama Zamas. Once they leave, how are we going to
Which is very different to the visuals we saw of people protesting and going and doing raids and trying to do their own arrests of Zama Zamas. So it's very mixed, you're saying, how people integrate or relate to the Zama Zamas.
Exactly. 100%.
So you said that the municipality is involved in blocking up the mines, and there are many groups calling for a proper plan whereby these unsafe mines are blocked so nobody can go in. And I know it's difficult because you block them and then people can open them up again in future. But how many have been blocked? What have you been involved in thus far?
So we've done quite a few, all the way going from Seoul City, if you know where that is, close to the Shamdor region, all the way through to where Randfontein starts, where West Village in question is. However, it's very difficult for the municipality to embark on the entire process because we are utilizing TLBs that are meant to be used for water reticulation network when you do pipeline repairs, etc. So we're actually overextending our mandate to assist with closures. What happens is when we get a tip-off and we know that we're going to do an operation, We allow the disruptive activity of public safety and SAPS to partake, and then we seal off those shafts. But also, once again, it requires constant engagement, because once you leave the area, the activities start restarting as you do this rolling implementation.
So does it feel like a losing battle?
It feels like a very difficult cat and mouse game, but it has actually stabilized in some areas, which is very fortunate.
All right, and just to leave off, we've run out of time, but you're calling for a coordinated response. If everybody works together, I mean, government has suggested this is billions that is needed, but you're saying if everybody work together, it's possible.
Yes, if we work together, billions won't be required. We don't actually need funds in terms of liquid capital only. It's actually the warm bodies and the equipment that we require, and just the coordination, the licensing, the policy frameworks, and the permissions to do so.
All right, thank you very much for your time. That was the Mogale City Mayor, Tyrone Gray.